Hello and welcome to another fabulous car video. It is like 9,000 degrees outside and I'm gonna keep my shades on because the sun is shining so bright that I'm pretty sure somebody has a magnifying glass. Even though there's like clouds everywhere, I'm pretty sure I'm being boiled under a magnifying glass. But I'm out running some errands and I've been struggling through some stuff, and the first time I ever turned on the camera, it was for this very reason, just to be able to put a voice to it. So I kind of came into this weekend with this idea that I needed to spend some time refocusing and reflecting and kind of figuring some direction out on some things, and getting some ducks in a row. And Friday night was already busy, already planned to be busy, so I kind of knew Saturday was going to be it. And so I got home from class and I got that phone call that said I needed to get to the hospital for my husband. And so I don't know how everybody else functions. For me, what happens, if there's one thing that my life has given me, ironically, is this ability to stay completely calm in a shit show. Like, I don't know what it is about me specifically, but it's like a bank robbery. Walls come up, everything shuts down, and we're gonna get through it. And nothing's gonna get in the moment. And so that's what I do. And so I'm pretty sure, like, I got the information, I finished up what I was doing. Funny enough, I sent a couple texts, and I get in my car, and I think the GPS got a couple of choice words, and I think one of my niece probably heard a few choice words at the GPS because it told me to turn the wrong way, and it was the only thing I could really take anything out on. But other than that, yeah, it was go, and it was walls up until about 3 o'clock this morning. And about 3 o'clock this morning, completely guard down, everything came back down. And then everything begins to process. So today was kind of tough. And I had that moment where I'm laying in bed, and the hardest thing to do is to actually get up out of the bed and move forward. And that's what I'm here for, because that's what sucks the most about depression and anxiety and struggling with any sort of mental headspace, is because it gets you when you're weak. And that's why it can get you, because when you're strong and everything's going good, you blow stuff off. But in those moments of weakness, that's where that voice is able to really get to you. And I get the fear of the future, what's going to happen, what's going to go forward from here, and the reminder, you're alone. Nobody's out there for you. You don't really have any friends. Nobody really likes you. They only want you for the gifts that you can give them. And I think there's a part of me that gets mad about that at this point, because I know, regardless of truth in any of those statements, I still have to get my ass out of that bed. And I still have to do what I have to do, or I have to give up. And see, years ago, when this journey really started, that's kind of the decision that started this journey, was, all right, once and for all, I make the decision. I either give up and I'm done, or I'm going to get through this. And I'm going to get through it every day. And I'm not going to let that win, because I know what the result of the other side is. I know what the result of going down the dark hole is. I've seen it. I've seen it across so many lives. I've seen the pain that comes, because no matter how much we think we don't matter, that pain ripples through people's lives regardless of how much we think it won't. And we think everybody's going to be okay. And life does go on. But people get hurt. and people's whole lives are changed, and I know what that outcome is. And so I made that decision a long time ago. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna keep going. And furthermore, I made that decision that I'm gonna do what I can to be a voice, to make sure other people know that you got to keep going. Because I've lived this life of being the outsider, and being the outcast, and being on the edge of groups and people, and not being accepted and not being part of it, and being close but away. And I know what it is to be alone and to struggle. And so it makes me mad, after all this time, to sit in bed and ask myself the question if I should get up or not. I hate that. I hate that we live in this world where we have so much communication ability and so much talk, but so little community, so little connections, where we have to keep people on the edge of our lives and away because we gotta keep up some image that's usually bullshit, of having it together, of keeping it together, of perfect houses and perfect homes. And it's so stupid. I mean, we all know it. We all know we're all struggling, but we all struggle and then, like, we're good, we're fine, everything's great. And I guess the balance is, I guess we all can't fall at one time, right? And I get that. I mean, I think that's my point, is as I finally got myself out of that bed today and I started pushing through and I started doing the things that I have to do today and getting them done, the one thing I've learned to do and try to do is to start looking around and noticing, because it's so easy to get into your own place and your own world, and we don't see what we're doing and what is going on around us. And listen, here's the thing. I know one of the things that I've struggled with lately is I really want to pay attention to more people, but sometimes that capacity to do so is really hard. And I can't. I don't know how to be what people need me to be. And you drive yourself crazy trying to do that. So I'm not trying to say like, oh, you busy yourself with trying to be everybody else's little servant. I'm saying sometimes it helps if you will start noticing what's going on around you. And I notice these little things, like a woman having her little baby on the edge of her van, and she's changing the diaper and she's talking to the baby, and she's got another little kid, and the kid's driving her crazy, and she's still just trying to calmly go through her day. And I passed by a mom and a kid in her car, and the kid's like sobbing in the front seat, and she's clearly angry, and they're fighting. And I'm like, all these little things throughout the day, this is real life. You know, this is life every day. We're passing by people, and everybody's living their life. We're never actually alone. We're all kind of in this human state together, and figuring out how to reach outside of yourself and still keep going and notice there's still good I can do, no matter how I feel. And I think I've felt for a while like there's this me, and every day I like get up and I stuff her in a corner so that I can go put on the face for who I need to be for that day. And I realized at some point that I kind of saw that mirror and a reflection of who that person that's stuffed in the corner is. And I've been trying more and more to kind of let her back out. Because when I saw that mirror, I liked that mirror. But life doesn't always let us just be who we are and who we want to be, because we do. We have to keep up what we're doing. I mean, that's part of the world. I don't know what I'm saying. If anything, I've wanted so bad to somehow contribute, especially, it's not just women, but especially to women. We have this world that competes, and I hear it so much, all the crap that goes on between women, and I can't stand any of it. I don't expect that we're all going to get along and we're all going to be best friends, but there's so many of us that are doing just that, where we're getting up and we're stuffing ourselves into corners and we're getting through our days. And then we get home and we get to finally let down. But not all of us get to do that, because some of us go home and still have to keep those walls up and still have to keep that face up. And that face stays up so often until that 3 o'clock in the morning, until those wee morning hours. And we live in a world that talks so much about being ourselves now and being authentic and being genuine. And it's like, it's almost just a marketing ploy for so much. Every company wants you to believe that they care about you and that they have your best interest at heart, and they want you to be the real you. And it's a soundbite. It's inauthentic. It's inauthentically authentic. It's so hard to actually just figure that out. It's like authentic is a mask you put on as much as anything else. This video's long. It just is. I want my life to mean something, but I also want other people to hear that thing of, when you lay in that bed and you wonder, do I get out of bed today? Do I matter? Of course you do. Of course you do. How could you not? I mean, there's 7 billion people. It is so easy to feel small and inconsequential and irrelevant. It just is. Of course, getting lost in the grand scheme. You know, when I'm laying there at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm wishing I had somebody, nobody knows unless I reach out. Nobody has any way of knowing I'm going through anything unless I say anything. So when we're walking around, we're keeping that mask up and we're trying to get through our day. Of course, how do they know? They've got their mask up and they're getting through their day. And they're doing the same things. And those moments where things go to hell are shattering. But oh, I'm going somewhere with this, I'm sure. I mean, I'm doing this for the 3 people who watch it all the way through, right? I think more and more the truth is that many of us are struggling, and we love to be happy. We love to be happy. And hopefully you find those places where life does have joy and things that do bring you joy. And I think when you are a person that wants to do more and go higher and push further, sometimes it's easy to get so lost in that alone brings you down because you're not where you want to be. But if you need to hear it today, of course you matter. Of course you do. No matter how on the outside or inconsequential or irrelevant you feel, no matter how different or awkward or strange, no matter how heavy life is, you are here and you affect the world just by being in it. And you have everything that you have in you, which at times I'm sure will feel like is nothing. But you have been given life. You have been given the ability. God, I sound so frickin' trite. Listen, here's the thing. Even in that, like, I'm like, oh, you've been given this precious life. I know. It's so heavy at times. It's so heavy, and it so much feels like if I could just stop feeling this, everything would be okay. And that's where people get themselves into those low places because they just don't want to feel that anymore. It isn't about, I don't want to be here. It isn't about giving up. It's about, I don't want to feel this anymore. And I can talk to you about seeking help and getting therapy and medication and all of that stuff, but some of the best therapy and best medication will not always fight those moments where that life gets so heavy that you just want it to stop. And that's where it is most important to make that decision to take another breath, get through another day, keep going, because things turn, things change, seasons move, things get better, and things suck at times. And they will always suck at times. And there will always be lonely times, and there will always be times where you feel like there's nobody in the world that gives a shit about you. It'll always be the case. But I think we really lose sight of the fact that tears and sorrow and heartache and pain, those are as important to life as happiness and joy is. Because those things also tell us who we are and what matters, and they separate us. And they are the things that develop us and create who we are becoming. And it's, if you lose sight of that picture, that this pain is a part of becoming, when we bake cookies and we do things like that, there's as much mixing and beating the butter and whipping, stuff happens. That's part of changing. I don't know. That's a terrible analogy. Y'all, listen. I just cried my eyes out a little bit ago, so y'all got to give me some peace. I am terrible at this. Yeah. It's part of the process. And I try to remember that when I'm in my low spots, that's part of the process that's going to get me where I'm going. And this realization that people we love are sometimes standing right in front of us, and we don't see them. And we don't see them. And we don't know what they're doing or what they're going through. and the pain it would cause us if they were gone. But they're just there, serving us, doing for us. And our lives are so caught up that we don't know it in the moment. And sometimes just being able to turn that around and say, listen, I feel this way. People can't see me. Recognize that you can't see other people. And that you can't always see what your actions are and what they're causing and how they're affecting the world. For good and for bad. Everything you do has a ripple. And you won't always be the good guy in everybody's story. And that's just part of life. Give people grace. Give people love. Listen to people. And if you need to hear it, I've already said it, but of course you matter. Of course you matter. Why would you think differently? That's all. This is long enough. The world is a heavy place sometimes, and it's certainly very, very heavy to me. This certainly doesn't have all that it could have in it. Have a very blessed day.